How's everybody doing? Your guy JC here, and I have my top 10, way too early top 10 college basketball teams for the 2024-2025 season. I've seen some YouTubers do this, so I figured I'd stick my hand in the ring. Let's get started with number 10, the Purdue Boilermakers. Pretty simple. Braden Smith. I think it's going to be the Big Ten Player of the Year this year. And even though they lose Zach Edey, they have Fletcher Lawyer, they have TKR, they have pieces to not replace him because they're not going to replace him, but to hang in there and be a competitive top 10 team. Number 9, Duke Blue Devils. A lot of these are based on a player, and players win you games. In March, they win you games in the regular season, and Cooper Flagg is one of those generational type players, kind of like a Zion, and I think he'll carry them to a top 10 spot. Also announced that Tyrese Proctor and Caleb Foster are coming back, so good news for them. Number 8, UConn. This is a controversial one. I understand if you want to throw tomatoes at me here, but I wanted to give Dan Hurley his flowers, no doubt. But I also wanted to acknowledge that I don't really trust Alex Karaban being the number one option. Alex Karaban, a heck of a player, but I'm still doubtful that he can be a number one option on a championship-winning team. However, I do feel as if this roster is already good enough, and Hurley's already a good enough of a coach to be a top 10 team. Number 7, North Carolina. RJ Davis, first-team All-American this year, going to be a first-team All-American again. One of the best guards in the country. Harrison Ingram, really great glue guy. Probably one of the best glue guys in the country. Elliot Cadeau, hope he improves his jump shot over the offseason. And Hubert Davis' squad, I think, is destined for a great run in the ACC this year. Arizona, Caleb Love. I know he gets a lot of hate, but I feel as if Caleb Love is a top player in the Big Ten. Jaden Bradley and Pella Larson will both be asked to have increased roles this year, probably in Tommy Lloyd's offense. But I like the Wildcats. Sue me for believing in them, but I feel as if they can make a run to the top 6. Now we get into the top 5. We got Gonzaga holding the 5 spot. Gonzaga had a low-key, underrated season this year with Ryan Nembhard at the helm. I think he's going to be an All-American this year. Graham Ike, I could see being a big piece. Nolan Hickman's a great backcourt mate for Nembhard. And as well as Mark Few hitting the transfer portal, getting a little older. I feel as if this team can run it back and make an Elite 8 or Final 4. The number 4 team in the country is Alabama. Mainly just because of their Final 4 run and because of Mark Sears. Mark Sears is the best guard in the country, in my eyes. Going to be a first-team All-American. He's going to be joined by Chris Youngblood in that backcourt, the AAC Co-Player of the Year at South Florida, and Grant Nelson, who's coming off of a hot tournament run this year. The Cougars, Houston. So these are going to be 3 Big 12 teams. Javier Francis, LJ Cryer, and the recent transfer portal pickup, Milos Uzan, are going to win them some games in March and outside of March. Their defense is going to travel. Just way too good of a team, way too good of a coach in Kelvin Sampson for me to put them any lower than 3. Iowa State, I think, is just a smidge better because of the continuity that they retain. Their whole lineup is pretty much back. Lipsy, Gilbert, Curtis Jones, Momcilovic are all back for the Cyclones, and their defense is amazing as well. Otzelberger, I think this is going to be his first Final 4. And number 1 team is the Kansas Jayhawks, led by Hunter Dickinson. I know he's been in college for a while, but he's going to be a player of the year this year. I feel as if he's going to dominate. It's the era of the big man, and he's going to dominate it. And KJ Adams and DeJuan Harris are back, as well as picking up new transfers Riley Kugel and Zeke Mayo. I feel as if the Jayhawks and Bill Self have something to prove, and they will be proving it this year. So I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for more ZVJ Media. Subscribe, please, and see you next time.